Okay, so how to use the extrude tool in Maya. So the extrude tool in Maya, or using a profile to extrude or to create something like a pipe or wire, right, is a little bit different than if you were to extrude it in polygons. Let me just go the polygon route first. So if you're doing a polygon, we can create a circular disc. All right, we can create a circular disc like that, and we're going to do a very low resolution disc, all right, because we can subdivide this and get a equivalent shape. So we can select all the faces, then if we go to move, and we can start to extrude, and then we can rotate and holding down shift at the same time and extrude by moving the cubes. But trying to get your curve right to have a nice rounded look can be very challenging. Of course, you can apply things like beveling, right, to increase the number of segments, but it is very hard, right, to control like the curve that you want. So there's another alternative method, which is to use NURBS curves, right? So I'm going to delete this away. So to use NURBS curves, we first have to go to curves and surfaces. We need a couple of things. We need to have a curve first. Then we need the profile. Okay, so I will start off by creating the curve, the path which you want to draw your shape. So I'm going to start from the top view. Let's say just now for the table legs, right, it has a very specific shape. So I'm going to use this Bezier curve tool method to create the profile. So I'll start with one point here, then click and drag to create a nice smooth curve here. Then I'll click all the way here, then click another curve here just to create a bend, then maybe like this, then all the way here, and then end it here. So once you're done, you just press enter. If you can right mouse click, you can go over to control vertex. We can still fine tune the curve. Okay, I'm going to fine tune the curve, right, to get the shape that I want. Okay, shift right mouse click and you can turn on the Bezier so that we can control the shape of the curve. I think this one gives me much more control. Okay, so right now I have the profile that I want. So now I want the cross section, right, or a curve, right, to follow this path. So if you look at the perspective view, this is what the curve looks like, right? It might not be perfect, but I think I can work with this. So next, I want to create a circular curve. Now this circular curve is a little bit too big, so I'm going to go to component mode, control vertex, select all the control vertex, and use scale to scale it down until it's about the size of a pipe work. Okay, so this is good enough. Now I'm going to rotate this curve 90 degrees forward, holding down the J like that, 90 degrees. Okay, and then I will select the curve, then shift, select, press Q to select the curve, shift, select the path that I want to extrude it from. Then instead of using extrude, we have to go to modeling, surfaces, extrude. Okay, and we can see that there's some issues here. Okay, that is because our curve is not oriented properly. So if you see that if I rotate this curve, right, or I move it around, okay, right now the beginning and the end, right, is in a very incorrect location. So I'm trying to move it so that one end, right, of the curve is at the correct position. Now you can see that the curve, right, appears to be flat. Now the beginning of the point and the start of the profile, right, must be in the same place. So that's why we have this phenomenon going on. And right now you can see that the extrusion is not working because our profile needs to be rotated. So let's select the NURBS circle. Okay, press E, holding down to J, and then rotate 90 degrees. And now you can see we have our beautiful pipe work done. Okay, maybe here we need some corrections. Okay, so we can go over to our Bezier curve. Okay, you can press 4 to go to wireframe so you can see a little bit clearly. So right mouse click on this area here, then go to control vertex. You can do things like grabbing the control handles, move it along. Okay, non-uniform. Make sure you choose the curve and not the the extruded cube itself. You can select group of them, you can move them. You can see the number of segments right on this curve might not be enough. So sometimes we can adjust the resolution. Okay, but at this stage, right, we don't really have to worry too much about this, because what we can do is we will first make this permanent, this shape permanent. So to make it permanent, right, we have to delete history. So first, go and delete away the history, so that now this extrusion is permanent. It's not being affected by the curve anymore. So I can move the curve, it doesn't affect the shape anymore. So deleting the history, which you can delete by clicking this button, or click on edit, delete all by type history. So once you got this piece, take note that this is not a what do you call that, polygon object. We have to convert it first. So if you still remember, to convert, right, we have to go to I believe is modify, convert, NURBS to polygons, and there's a setting that we use. Okay, by default, right, if you reset the settings, right, by default it will convert everything to triangles. That's not really what we want. Okay, we want to try to change it to quads. Okay, and tessellation method, I think we change it to control points. All right, and then we apply. So when we apply, right, it will keep the original object, but then you will also produce the polygon version for you. So you can see the polygon version, we need to do a little bit of cleanup. Right, for example, these edge loops here, we can control delete them away. This one here, we don't need this one. And then after that, right, you can tweak it. And the best thing about this is that I can press number 3. Okay, I'll still get this tube-like structure. Okay, so which is fitting the table reference here, which is this one. Okay, I'm trying to load that image. I do not want to use Photoshop to load that. So I'm going to right mouse click, open with photos. So we can use this method to create this table over here. Okay, for some reason my picture load up is very slow. Let me close these images. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to use another image viewer. Okay, yeah. So we can use this method to create this table over here. All right. So let's just go ahead and create this table. So I'm going to click on New Scene. And bring in the image texture. Now, if you do not want to convert your image, right, into a square, you can still bring in the image, but you remember that if we texture map it into a square surface, it will be stretched. But if you know the image dimensions, like for example, I'm looking at the image dimension right now is 1270 by 1600, just by hovering over the image. Or you can right mouse click and go to properties. So I'm going to use those values, right, to create a plane with exactly the same dimension. So I'm going to create a plane, okay, with 1 by 1 subdivisions. And then the width of the image, okay, I'm going to follow this one. The width of the image is, I'm going to call it 1.27. Okay, width will be 1.27. All right, and then the height of the image would be 1.6. So 1.6. So now I have an plane, right, that has exactly the same aspect ratio. So if I apply to the image, right, it should not be distorted. So I'm going to apply a new material, surface shader. So if you want to skip the converting it to a square, this is another method, but you must know the dimensions of your image reference. So right now I'm going to bring in the image, and then if I bring it up, and you can see now perfectly aligned, right, not distorted. Right, so I will rotate this 90 degrees, push it back, then I'll scale this up, put it somewhere else, right, where I can see it clearly. And also I'm going to scale this up. So my goal right now is just to model this table. I'm not going to model it to be the exact same dimensions. So now I know how to model the legs. Now model the top part is quite simple. It's just a flat plane that is extruded. So let's do that top part of the table first. Okay, it will look something like this. Okay, I'm going to freeze, delete history and freeze transformation. Then I will move this up. So this will be the top of my table. Then I will extrude. So this will be my tabletop. So I'll call it accordingly. I'll call this tabletop. My reference will be my reference. I want to put my reference inside its own layer and lock it so that I will not accidentally select it. Okay, next will be the profile here. It looks like just a curve to be extruded. So I'll go to the front view. Okay, and then this is my table. So I'll use the create polygon tool. Right, I'll start off by creating 2 straight lines here. Then a bottom curve here like that. Then upper like this. Just click, and then once you're done, we have created the profile. Okay, next. Okay, I'm going to go close to the profile, and then I'm going to flip this, select this object under mesh display, reverse it, then go and do a cut or connect. Select these two and connect them. Select these 2 vertices and connect. Okay, repeat last command, press G. So creating this very basic shape. Okay, now I just want to straighten them a bit. So this one I'm going to use scale to straighten it. Put it this way. Then use scale to increase the thickness. Select these 2 faces here, scale to flatten them. Do the same for the upper vertex to flatten them. So this is a very quick and easy way to straighten your vertices. Okay, so this is still a very simple object like that. And once we've done this, we can, let's see, we can extrude. Okay, so go and select all the faces by double clicking. Then using move, shift and extrude. Okay, then we can move this forward. Okay, and switch over to vertex mode and continue to move it back. Let's go to the front view and check. Okay, so this part here is actually quite close. Right now the pivot point is over here, so I'm going to click on center pivot. So I can move this up. So if I press number 3, right, it will subdivide, but then you can see that there's not enough faces, right, to spread over here. Okay, the front of the faces here also looks very odd. Okay, let's go over to vertex face and see what issue do we have. Everything seems fine. Okay, I think it's the face. The faces are not consistent. You see this face is still black. Alright, so I will go to object mode. Then go and select the entire object. Go to mesh display and click on conform. Okay, right now all the faces are black. Alright, then I will do another operation, mesh display reverse. Okay, now this should fix the subdivision problem. So press number 3, yep. Okay, so this is what I expect to see. Next, I just had to insert supporting edge loop. So use the multi-cut tool to insert a couple of edge loops here, one here, one here, one here, one here, and one here. And finally, at the extreme end, one more here. So if I press number 3, I should get the shape like this. Then maybe at the front side here, I want to insert one more edge loop here and one more edge loop at the back, just to maintain the shape. So right now, I have the rough shape of this table. Okay, for the curve shape here, we just need to select this loop, double click to select the loop, and then spread it out using the slide edge tool. Okay, shift right mouse click, slide edge tool, middle mouse click and drag to spread it out. Same for this one, middle mouse click and spread it out. If you press number 3, you should have a much more gentler curve like that. Likewise for this loop here, I'm going to spread it out a little bit. This loop as well, spread it out a little bit. Okay, so this is if you are using your subdivision to model this. Okay, it seems that the edge part here is pointing upwards, so I will select these group of vertices, rotate them until it faces up like that. Okay, if I press number 3, yeah, then I have something that looks like this. So this one is almost vertical like that. So let's fix that by grabbing these vertices here, pushing it forward. Okay, this group of vertices here, I need to rotate them. So if I press number 3 now, so now I can see that I'm getting very close to this shape. Right, so the bottom part is done. Now for the legs. So for the legs, right, it seems that it's made out of 4 of these loop components. So I need to make 4 of these legs. So again, using that loop method, or rather the curve method. So I will again start from my, well, you can actually start from side view. I think I'll do my side view. And then I'll draw the curve using the Bezier tool again. Okay, this time I'm going to draw a nicer leg. I'm going to use these as my guides. I'm going to hold down to X, right, to snap to the grid here. Okay, and then I'm going to click to the bottom here to snap to the grid, and then click here again to snap to the grid like that. All right, and then I'm going to finish the modeling. So you can see that I'm ending up with very, very sharp points like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the control vertex of the curve, then shift right mouse click and change it into a Bezier. Same for this one as well, change it to the Bezier as well. So this Bezier allows me to grab the handle here and control the curve of the Bezier curve. Right, I'm just going to bring this up flat like that. Then this bottom one as well, I'm going to change it into Bezier as well. So now I can grab these handles, 2 of these handles, then scale it down so that I have a nice gentle loop down curve, just like what we see over here. Okay, but I need this to have another extra, what do you call that, control vertex. So let me see whether I can insert another control vertex here. Let's see. Okay, there should be a tool that allows me to do that. Curve editing tool, add points tool. Okay, so I'll add 1 point here. Okay, I think for add point here, I need to do the curve point. Okay, let's see. Detach, no, insert knot. Yeah, insert knot doesn't will. Okay, I need to select the curve first. Okay, it seems that insert knot doesn't work on this one. Let me try another one. Let's see, align, move, fillet, cut, insert knot, rebuild, detach. Okay, let me try to use the original tool. Okay, maybe this one will work now. So right now this tool, right, is still the Bezier tool. I'm going to come over here, right, and see whether I can insert. Yes, I can insert another tool here, another control point here. All right. So I think you have to go over to curve point, then use this tool, or rather use to, sorry, not curve point, control vertex. I'm going to try this tool again. Yeah. Actually, right now I'm creating a new curve. Okay, I'm trying to replicate insertion of a new knot here. So I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to select this curve and then use this tool again. Yeah. So if you want to add more points, you have to select the curve, then click on the Bezier curve tool. Then once it turns into this color, right, and you can hover over the curve and the green dot appears, that's where you can click and add more points. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. So now that I've created these 2 extra points, I'm going to try to sculpt them, right, so that it has something similar to what I want. So I'm going to reduce the distance of these control handles. Right now these handles we see, right, they are moving opposite sides. So I'm going to right mouse click, select this point, shift right mouse click, and change it into a Bezier corner. Okay, so when you change it in the Bezier corner, right, then both sides of the handles are independent. Okay, so I'm going to do the same for this one. Shift right mouse click, change the Bezier corner. Then I'm going to move it up like that. Then this control handle, just move it up. So basically I want to create like a mirror of the other side. Okay, so this part is more or less done. Now the bottom part here, again I need to add 2 more control vertex here to create that nice what do you call it, gentle curve around here. So go to object mode again, select the curve, then click on the Bezier tool, and then you change into this dark blue color, which means I can insert more control points. So 1 control point here, and then 1 control point here. Then now I can click on select, so I can go back to control vertex again, select these 2 control points and bring it down. You can use scale, alright, to change the distance also. So I'm just using this method, right, to reshape my curve here. Alright, so I want to have the nice loop like that, and I think I want these lines, right, to be straight. So now I'm going to try this. I'm going to shift right mouse click. I'm going to use Bezier corner, which is what I did just now. Changes the Bezier corner so that these lines will come down very, very straight. Same for these 2. Shift right mouse click, Bezier corner. Okay, now the handle should be independent so that I can continue to grab this handle here and adjust it until I get my nice curve. Like that. Okay, and then these 2 over here, I'll just move them until I got my nice curve like that. So this one you need to play with this Bezier a little bit. Okay, good. So now I got the section. If I take a look at my curve, okay, I got the cross section of the leg that is straight like that. That's what I want. Okay, so since I started drawing from here, I'm now going to select this curve and move it until the first point, right, is at the origin, because that's where the curve, right, the extrude curve is going to start and then form the shape here. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to create a circular curve, which is this one, Bezier curve, or rather a NURBS curve. Then go to control vertex and scale it down. Now you can scale it down externally and then afterwards apply a freeze transformation. That's why I'm scaling it in component mode rather than object mode. Okay, so I think this thickness is good enough. Now I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees like that. Then select the profile, select the path you want to extrude, then go to surfaces and extrude. Okay. Okay, so it's looking good. Okay, although the curve is in reverse, that doesn't matter for me because I'm going to convert this into a polygon object. So modify object, convert NURBS to polygons. Make sure you use these settings, convert to control points, and then apply. So now we have our polygon version, which can move out, and if it's black, you just go to mesh display reverse. Right, if I press number 3 to subdivide this, right, you will look exactly the same as our curve version. And with this, we can cap the ends here. Double click, shift right mouse click and fill hole. Shift right mouse click and fill hole. Okay, I'm going to insert one edge loop here to make the ends a bit tighter. And now we have our leg. So I don't need this NURBS version anymore. I can just press H to hide it. Same for this curve. Okay, is my isolate view on? Let me see. Okay, so now I have my legs. So I need to just scale it down and position it to the table. So right now the scale is a little bit too big. I'm going to center the pivot. Well, actually, no, I'm going to put the pivot point here. So press D, move the pivot point right about here, just move it slightly above, like that. Okay, so that I can just scale it down like this, move it up, scale it, and position it to match the position of the table. Go to the front view. You can see that from the reference, right, the legs, right, are offset in a certain way. So I'm just going to put one of them first. So rotate this slightly, about maybe 45 degrees. Let's see, minus 45, like that. And it's also tilted outwards. So for that, right, I'm going to use my local rotation. So you double click on your rotation and change to object rotation. So it rotates out slightly, it like flares out slightly. Okay, the one that I have, my leg might be a little bit thicker. Okay, so now that I got this, I'm going to use the mirror. I want to mirror along the z-axis. So mesh mirror around the z-axis using the world and mirror. Then I should have another extra leg here. Okay, then now I'm going to mirror these two. Okay, let me see whether I can select both of these at the same time. Okay, the mirror is done already. I don't know why it doesn't want to finish. Okay, let's press enter. Okay, so the mirror is now done, and for some reason both of them are now connected. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I think because the merge is on, so we can repeat the mirror again. So go to mesh mirror, but this time we do it in the x-axis and mirror, and that's it, we are done. So okay, for this particular legs, right, you can see it is much shorter, so not a problem. We can always select this, go to vertex mode, select the top vertices, then just move it up until it touches the other side of the table. So that's how you model this particular table. Alright, so with that I will stop the video. Now, parenting, I don't think I need to show you guys. You just need to select these legs, select the bottom table, and then press P so that the table, right, is the parent. Then the top part here, select the top part, select the bottom, and press P. So now the main object is this one. Now we can go and lay out and place the table. Right, so that's how I will model this particular table. I'll save scene as. I'll call this a fancy table. And that's it.